What's good, everyone? This is Justin Just Rock Ramon from the Just Trek podcast, where elevation is our recreation. Super excited for you to check out our next episode as it features an absolutely incredible guest who goes by the name Rolland Tizuela. Rolland is a San Diego-based trekker, outdoor creator, Snow Peak ambassador, camp connoisseur, co-founder of the Camp Homies Collective, and the founder of Campthropology. We chatted about Rolland's first hiking and camping memories, the origin story behind Campthropology, and his transformative experience hiking 100 miles of the PCT as a McNair Scholar. We also get into his viral epic Poo View content, his top camping destinations in California and favorite San Diego trails, the spirit of the Camp Homies Collective, episode recs from the Campthropology podcast, the American style versus Japanese style of camping, and the cultural ethos behind Snow Peak. Rolland also shares tips for newbie campers, dives into the importance of finding magic in local outdoor spaces, and reflects on the one outdoor experience he would relive all over again. At his core, Rolland is on a mission to make camping and the great outdoors more accessible to all. In addition to this YouTube video version you are watching right now, we have audio versions available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on all the other major streaming platforms. You can find those links in the description. All right, let's get to trekking and get into this episode. All right, y'all, we are back at it with another episode with another incredible guest whose content is literally maybe LOL countless times in real life. We are out here at O'Neill Regional Park in Eastern Orange County, specifically in Trabuco Canyon. And right here next to me is Rolland Tizuela, San Diego-based trekker, outdoor creator, camping connoisseur, and the founder of Campthropology. Very excited to say, man, welcome to the Just Trek podcast, Rolland.
Appreciate you, man. I've been wanting to be on for a while. And I feel like the first video I followed you on, were you guys like dancing on top of a mountain?
Oh, you saw that one?
Yeah, dude, I think that's one of the first
No, you did
videos.
not.
And I was like, dude, this is the homie right here. This is it.
That's a part of my background before I got into the outdoor community, hiking community. I came from the dance community.
Oh, no way.
A hardcore b-boy breaker for like 13 plus years.
Dude, okay. Dude, we have to talk about that too, because I really try to blend a lot of like we were talking about marketing stuff with like b-boy culture, like street oriented culture, and like, there's like a big crossover, especially with some of the brands I work with like sneakerhead and camping and like collectible. Now it makes sense why all your merch is on point and stuff too.
Hey,
dude.
It makes sense with you too.
I know. I was like, okay.
I know you're a poet and a
Dude,
lyricist. I
yeah.
came across one of your YouTube videos on my research.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh, this brother's in the underground hip hop scene as well at some point.
Oh man, you went deep though. Dang.
Yeah, I was listening to one of the recent episodes. I listened to a part of your first episode, and you were saying, yeah, I got something like Hiking San Diego, like a YouTube channel or some content, and also you might find some stuff of your nonprofit, Glassless Minds.
Glassless Minds, yeah.
By the way, that's the dopest name. That sounds like a hip hop crew,
Thank you.
a b-boy crew.
Yeah.
It's interesting you bring up the dancing on the mountain content, because I really felt that's when the hiking group known as the Just Trek crew really started like making a name for itself, because people were like, who are these dancers that are celebrating on top of the mountain and forming a cipher and exchanging different energy and showcasing the different styles from like popping, locking, house dancing, whacking, breaking. Like, that's so dope. That's one of the first things that you noticed about us.
Oh, it definitely stood out. I mean, in the outdoor content spaces, I feel like a lot of stuff, you know, we all kind of produce the same content. So when I see something that definitely stands out, specifically blending two cultures, that's my steez. I loved it.
That was our ritual. We would like get to the top of the summit or these peaks, and the way we celebrate life is through forming a circle and dancing.
Dude, yes. That's funny if you think about the collective outdoor spaces, especially hiking. You know, your body's going through this rhythm of doing the same motion, like, you know, just different intensities of it. So to move your body in a different way at the top of a mountain is kind of symbol. It's like metaphoric in some way too, of like freeing and celebrate. That's actually really cool. Dang, I didn't even thought of that till right now. It's deep.
Totally. But a lot of times, as of the past couple of years, we get to the summit and we're like, I'm tired. I don't have any energy to dance. But that's very, I like what you just said right now, the rhythmic motion, right, of hiking. It's one foot in front of the other. It feels like a walking meditation. I knew this episode was going to just hit off well, just because I had a feeling that you were connected to that culture and background.
Dude, for sure, man. Like, that's what we were saying earlier. Like, it's no wonder we connected past and we're doing this right here, right now. You know, like, It's all connected.
Yeah,
The
no,
right people come into play.
I agree. As I was telling you before this recording, like one of my favorite things about hosting the Just Right podcast is being able to connect with the guests and actually sit down with them in person. I just feel like it's super rare nowadays to meet up with a stranger or someone that you're not familiar with, but somebody that you may admire or feel that you know them through their content and actually like break bread with them, share a conversation. Like I just feel like it's really rare nowadays to do.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, and thank you for agreeing to come camping into my world and staying out. It'll be a great night, man. I think I'm looking forward to
Yeah, and I really
the,
wanted you on the show too because you specialize in the camp culture, the gear culture. You know, we've had a few guests that are like in that realm too. The hiking guy, Chris Hazard, but your content and just like I like to describe like your content has a lot of flavor, a lot
yeah,
of flavor, a lot
little
of great
spices here and there.
humor.
Yeah,
You know, like you really stand out. Like you stand on your own, and I think that
I appreciate that.
makes sense now meeting you and getting to know you more because you've done spoken word. You know, it looks like you're a lyricist, and I was just like, yep, he gets it. And I'm not shocked that you're like, oh yeah, he's a b-boy.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
But how you feeling today as we gather on this really hot ass Halloween Eve?
I know it is Halloween Eve. I'm feeling really good. Yeah, we just actually came. Molly's with me, one of the homies. We actually came from Joshua Tree last night, and so it was a drive today. So we went from really hot to a little less hot, but now that the sun's down, it's feeling good. Yeah, and we almost did this trip on the 74. I was thinking about.
Roland, thank you so much for not hosting or getting a campsite on the haunted Ortiga 74
We
highway.
didn't even know it was haunted until last time we went, and then we're like, oh crap! We looked it up and we're like, this place is pretty creepy, like historically known. We're like, whoa.
Yeah, that's where the serial killers dumped a lot of the
Yeah,
bodies
that's what we
back
read.
in the day.
Yeah, that's gnarly. God, yeah. So we're good here. Better vibe, especially so close to Halloween. Yeah.
Yeah, when I looked up the location, I was like, oh, it's not near the 74? Like I was like looking for the 74 and I was like, oh, he chose somewhere different. And I was like,
Yeah.
yes, we're gonna be safe.
Yeah, because especially the camp. Actually, we were up there last time, and a campground that had been closed for the past 10 years had just opened, but that's one of the haunted ones, like super haunted. So
Jeez.
I was like, let's do here. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember telling you, I have a random memory as a teenager. We had to take a detour out here, like in the San Diego general area, to get to like my uncle's house. And the detour led us through Ortiga 74 highway.
Oh yeah.
But at like 10 p.m.,
Oh,
and
wow.
my cousin's car had like 2 bars of gas left.
Oh God. Jeez.
And I just remember, I was like, this is the most like haunting mountain pass I've ever been on.
Yeah, it's like 2-lane, super windy, and you don't have gas, dude.
Yeah. Super windy, oversized signs, which I guess is normal in the mountains. But at the time,
yeah.
I was like, if we get stuck here, I'm
We're
going to
done.
cry.
Yeah. We're done.
I'm going to shit my pants.
Right on the side of the road. Epic poo-poo bucket. You needed it back then.
Oh, we going to talk about the poo-poo buckets for sure. I've seen some of your content where you have like, what's the name of the portable toilet?
The technically called the Luggabaloo is the one I use. Yeah, and it's basically a toilet seat that snaps onto a bucket.
Yeah, I've yet to have a majestic pool like that out in nature, like in a dispersed camping site.
Hang around, boy. You're gonna learn
So
the
funny.
ways.
So funny. All right, Roland. So before we get into all your recent adventures and your work with Campthropology, I do want to learn more about you and your outdoor journey. Just dig deeper into that.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I want you to take us back. What was your first hiking memory?
Man, hiking memory. I'm a big advocate for because everybody, a majority of people that are fortunate, if we play outside as kids, whether it's urban or in forest areas. So we had like a hiking trail around like an urban neighborhood when I was a kid, and it kind of looked like this, being SoCal, like a lot of like oak. There's actually like some eucalyptus there, but we just used to, as kids, kind of romp or gallivant around there.
Yeah, Galaban for sure.
And we were kids, so I'd never been on a proper hike, but I would say like that's part of my first, like we would pretend like we're hiking, we'd be kind of going up and down. So that's probably one of my earliest memories of like what would be considered a hike on a trail. And it was like local too.
Yeah, and what's local? Because I didn't ask you yet, like what part of SoCal are you from? Like where do you reside?
Yeah, so I was actually born in Orange County, but I grew up in San Diego,
Okay.
Oceanside specifically, which is like North County. So yeah, just romping around there. And I played outdoor hockey and stuff, so like I'm always saying everybody's relearning the outdoors. No one's new to the outdoors, because I feel like as kids we forget that we play outside, and a lot of the benefits are still the same thing. Touch grass is literally like almost like get back with your inner child, because that's what we used to do as kids. I didn't wear shoes when I was a kid, like ever, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like that's one of my fondest memories, is just romping around and like, not, it wasn't a playground, it was just like a trail. And we would like, I mean, you shouldn't do this, but we would like cut branches and make forts and stuff, you know? And
Did
that
you have
was,
tree houses in
oh,
this area?
not real tree houses, but we would climb up in trees and try to make like a tree house, you know? So that's probably my earliest memories of I would say, really experiencing and like appreciating and enjoying the outdoors.
You know, I keep forgetting that about myself too. When people ask how did you get into your outdoor journey? Like our generation. Actually, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm 38. Yeah.
39.
Oh, no way.
Hey,
Dude, yeah,
see,
yeah.
that's why there's a lot of the energy here. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
we're the
matched
same
right up.
wavelength.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Like I was outdoorsy, but it was in a different sense. It was
Yeah.
just being an outdoor kid because, well, you just went outdoors because that's how you got to play with your friends.
Yeah, yeah.
The local
yeah.
park, or you play basketball on the street, or street hockey, or for myself, I grew up in Maryland,
Okay.
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah,
A lot of our outdoors areas is our friend's backyard, is the woods, the forest.
yeah. Is it an area where they don't have fences, where it's like,
Correct.
oh, cool, okay, yeah, yeah.
And the Blair Witch
Oh
Project
my
was
God.
filmed in
No
Maryland
way.
because that's the terrain of Maryland in the neighborhoods.
Wow.
Everyone has a woodsy backyard.
Whoa, okay.
And you can go deep, and it looks like you see tree houses, you see like ramps where like BMX riders are going off, or mountain bikers.
Uh-huh.
But then you also see that's also where the kids are all like drinking and partying and doing up
Oh
to
my
no
gosh,
good.
dude, no. Seriously, like, speaking of that, so first question, so all those like tree houses that you mentioned, are those like, I would say almost like kid legacy things, where like a bunch of kids built it way back and then like the next generation either
Some of them,
builds
yeah.
it and like, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. It's just spaces like that too. It's funny because we did that in this area that I was talking about as a kid. We kind of like carved out like a little couch area. We like brought like little shovels down there and like carved out seating area. And that area, when you're saying people are partying out there, I've known people that lived in that area that would go there too. And I'm like, oh, dude, we're the ones that carved that out
Oh,
from back in
interesting.
the day, you know? Like, so it's so funny to see like how outdoor spaces are community spaces in which we've always went out and gallivanted or just like hung out with the homies. And really, I feel it created a lot of fond memories, you know? So I feel like that's why, one, yes, I feel like it's a natural calling back out there, but I think deep down, if you are someone who spent time outside, it really reignites that almost like subliminal sense of nostalgia when you're outside, you know, and you feel comfortable right away. You feel comfortable telling stories, you know, kind of hanging out. Not for everybody, you know, some people, it's a little different story, but I feel like for the majority of people that we run into in the outdoors, we're all kind of on that same plane, I guess you could say.
And you said the word galabant.
Galaban. Yeah, yeah.
My homie here, half Filipino, half Mexicano. We said Mexipino, if that's a word.
Mexipino, yeah.
Is
yeah.
it your mom or your dad that's Filipino?
My dad's Filipino.
Okay,
yeah.
your dad's Filipino.
And my mom's Mexican. Yeah.
Isn't that word galabant the best word ever?
Oh, dude, yeah, yeah. Shout out Grant, by the way. Yeah, yeah.
Grant, we got the true
I
galabanter
know we
here.
gotta do a Galabant collab sticker.
Oh, that's
There's
too
room
funny.
for Galabanting for everybody. Okay.
Equal galabante,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing too that drew me to you. I was like, I think he's either half or full Filipino.
Yeah.
There's a handful of us in the outdoor space here in SoCal, but I just don't see as much of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, the brother's Filipino too. Like that's dope. Like he's
Yeah.
representing for us
Yeah,
as
for
well.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I had like one of the other homies, Ryan. He's Filipino as well. And I had a one video take off and go pretty viral.
Okay.
I think it got like over 1 million views of him blowing off his Jeep with like a electric blower when we got to the top and we were like off-roading. And I was like, that's so Filipino, dude. Just like, you know, cleaning everything like nice and in the outdoors too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
honestly, it makes a big difference if your rig isn't all dusty, because if you bump up against, yeah. So, but anyways, I
And
was
then you
like,
said the witch broom.
yeah,
yeah. What do you call it again?
Not tinikling, that's the dance. Dude, speaking of dancing, you should tinikling on top of a mountain.
Or I should have brought some sticks so we could have done a
Yeah.
little dance off right here.
The Walis thing.
Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it. Clean up your campground,
Yeah,
your
man,
campsite.
keep
with
it
a
safe,
Walis.
keep it clean, man.
And you mentioned your first hiking memory. How about your first camping memory?
Man. So I was lucky enough, both my parents being, I'm first generation born here. So my mom's born in Mexico, my dad's born in the Philippines. So I was lucky enough to, I don't know how or why, but we did go camping as a kid. I would say like normal, like maybe a couple times a year. But one of my probably first memories is my mom used to take me, we used to go out in Oceanside, used to be able to camp like in a van at the harbor. That was like my first experience kind of camping, and then also we would go on like family trips, like extended family to San Felipe. And so it's always been like beach kind of camping. And we'd go up to Julian sometimes and camp around there. I work at the beach too. I work for my full-time jobs. I work for a local municipality. And so I've
Oh,
always
right
grown,
on.
I love growing up. I love being by the beach, but I do honestly take it for granted sometimes. I
Of
forget, like,
course.
because I'm there every day too. I'm super lucky. I've always loved the beach and the water. And that people, when you think outdoorsy, people don't think of the beach for some reason. They think of like forests and stuff like that. But
That's very
yeah,
true because the beach is just so accessible. We
I
just
think
think
so.
about it
Yeah.
like instantly, like in terms of just like when it's summertime, or in case of San Diego, you think about it all year
Oh
round.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Our weather's great all the time there for
You have
sure.
a particular favorite beach or one that has a lot of meaning to you?
Yeah, just O-side, man. O-side. I grew up there. Unfortunately, we do see like there used to be like a lot of sand when I was a kid. Now, there's not a lot of sand, and they've dredged before, but Oceanside's changed a lot. But I just love Oceanside Beach. Del Mar, if you're looking to be a little bit more upper class down there.
I've been to the Del Mar Fair a bunch with my cousins.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a cool, like, quiet little beach town. It gets really busy, but it's also a good spot down there, too.
All right, let's now talk about your brand and your platform, Campthropology,
Yeah.
and that's something that you've been growing the past several years. For those not familiar, what exactly is Campthropology and what's the origin story behind it?
So Campthropology is a hodgepodge of, honestly, it's just like a bunch of stuff I like to do. So I'm an anthropology major. I went to UCSD, so I have an anthropology bachelor's. I was always supposed to go to grad school, but then I was like, I don't even know if I want to go to grad school. So, I decided not to. But I really like the process of learning, and I love the process of culture. So when I got into camping, I was like, Campthropology. So that's where it comes from. So to me, Campthropology is like a digital ethnography. So ethnography is like an anthropologist's like case study. So that's what it is to me. It's just like a little bit of everything of all types of incorporating outdoor culture. And yeah, it kind of started just like one day the name just popped in my head, and I loved camping, and I was like, let's roll with this. I've always done community stuff, like having the nonprofit before, and I think too, like, one of the big goals for me, and like we also started like a subgroup called Camp Homies. We just want to get people outside, like through information, getting people access to gear if we can, and we just started this year, but we want to plan to start to roll out to do more community stuff like that. Yeah, so it's just a big project of being outdoors and getting people outdoors, specifically people that either don't have access or want to go outside but don't necessarily know how. Yeah, so that's kind of the whole vision. But then I do all kinds of random content. Like some of the stuff is music production. Some like have like fingerboard content. It's just it's everywhere. It's like, yeah. But I do all that stuff outside. So I just say it works.
And so fascinating that your undergrad at UCSD, you're an anthropology major. And anthropology, correct me, like it's the study of human behaviors and cultures.
Yeah, so I have a sociocultural anthropology. So yeah, mine's behaviors and cultures. But there's also like biological anthropology. What branch of anthropology is also like archaeology, like and linguistics too. So I'm really interested in. I've always been interested to see like how different cultures kind of cross pollinate and overlap. Just like b-boy culture and outdoor culture, and like a lot of my stickers I have, they're like slap style street artist stickers.
Yeah.
So I like to blend the two and see how the two worlds meet, and also how they clash too. So quick little tangent, just like with the stickers, like historically graffiti culture is, you're leaving a mark on slaps in public, but
Yeah.
how that blends with leave no trace is an interesting dynamic.
Oh, yes,
And
it
as far
is.
as doing it responsibly
Very
too,
true.
I've done a couple of posts just to like see kind of what people think about it. And it's interesting to see like where, oh, it's man-made, so it's fine, but it's not. If it's on the back of a sign, I tend to think leave no trace at all in nature. When I go back to my street artist days, it's always in the city. And that's also controversial in itself, but like I don't put stuff like out in nature, like. But I was curious, so I've asked people, and I've gotten responses for both ways.
What kind of responses did you get?
So specifically, like, so somebody actually sent me so like I sell stickers, and mostly I give stickers away, and I've given like thousands of stickers probably in the past few years. So somebody sent, I forget what peak it was, but somebody sent me a picture of a Campthropology sticker on the back of a trail sign that was
Okay.
almost at the summit of some hike. I'll have to look back and see what it was. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, sweet. And I was like, oh, not so sweet. because it's like the leave no trace thing, you know. So I was like, all right, well, I think this is a good opportunity to see, you know, ask kind of like the community, like what do you guys think about this period, you know, like what's your take on it. Some people said as long as it's a man-made sign, so stickers fine, you know. That was one argument. One argument was, the other one was obviously leave no trace, it's not cool at all. Some people would say like, as long as it's on the back of the sign, it's not impeding on any critical information for the trail. And two, it's like I brought up, the reason why I'm against it is because it's kind of like the broken window theory. It's like, it used to do with crime, but it's the same thing with street art. It's like if you put one tag on a wall, it's going to invite more and more and more
So
and more
true.
and more and more
Very
tags.
true.
So the one sticker, it's like 10 months from now, it's going to be, you know, covered in stickers. But also too, people had made the argument, which is also true, that my stickers are supposed to be like UV proof, but a lot of stickers, once they start to decay, then it's trash. They'll start flaking off, and then you're leaving trash in
Very
nature
true,
too.
yeah.
You know, so my official stance is I'd say don't do it, but some people do. And like once you start noticing, then I started noticing that stuff everywhere outdoors. You know, like even like people, you know, sketch onto tables, especially wood ones. People carve stuff, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like the whole. It was all romanticized in our day and age, where you would write, you know, oh, you carve your name into a tree and a heart with like,
Yeah,
your,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like your
Leave your
girlfriend,
mark.
yeah, your partner, yeah. But that's like obviously a no-no now. But like that has such a different. It was categorized differently when we were growing up in our minds because our culture, as kids, we saw that and it was like accepted, you know.
I agree,
So it's,
especially if you grew up in the underground hip hop culture.
oh yeah, for sure. So I love seeing how as time changes, and how information spreads and how we just grow as people and as groups and cultures, it also changes, you know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I first started getting into the SoCal hiking community and started getting stickers,
Yeah.
everybody wants to leave their mark and represent, and I get that because
Yeah.
I would put my stickers or crewmates or friends of mine, they put it on like the man-made signs, on the trail signs, and then after a while, I was just like, you know what? Maybe it doesn't need to be on there. It's
Yeah.
like it's not as big a deal anymore because it's like, we had already been around for a few years, but then also it was just like, is this like actually like abiding by leave no trace principles? And then starting to think about it more.
Yeah, totally.
It's not
Yeah.
really, and then, but it's like hard to like kind of go into it too, because like I have this one friend who has a sticker company. He's also an outdoorsy guy, and he's like, if it's man-made, my stickers get laid.
Yeah.
There's that rhyme too.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, when I hear that, I'm like, oh, I'm allowed to do it. But then
Yeah, yeah.
it's like this back and forth in your mind of
Yeah.
like, it's a conflict.
Very much so, yeah. And that kind of brings me to the point when you were kind of saying it, I was picturing as what you were saying. But one of the other arguments too was also one, in the outdoor space specifically, there's, we're all going to like disconnect in a way. So anything that brings you out of that experience is impeding on someone else's journey through it, you know? So anything that's man-made, especially, stickers and stuff like that. Like you'd be going on a nice hike and then you see something and it kind of brings you out of that space. And I think a lot of the times we go out to nature because we want to maximize our mindset when we are in those spaces. So that was actually a very interesting point too. That's outside of just like trash and the actually physical leaving no trace, but how it's impeding on other people's experience of a trail or a campsite or something like that as well.
Yeah, because when there's one sticker, like you said, it invites a lot of other people to put
Oh,
stickers,
yeah,
and now
yeah.
that sign is literally covered
Oh yeah, it was
completely in
covered
stickers.
quick. Yeah,
And then you're like,
yeah.
that looks kind of nasty now.
Yeah. Well, there was that whole like with car culture too, the sticker slap covered stuff. I kind of like that look, but not in nature.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
To go back to your undergrad, I actually want to bring up this. I know it was a separate topic we were going to discuss further down in the conversation, but during your undergrad, you had a very transformative experience. That being, you hiked 100 miles of the PCT, the Pacific
Yeah.
Crest Trail, and it was because of you were a McNair scholar.
Yeah.
And want to speak to that more and how you have a thesis about, I think it was titled like the transformative aspects of long distance hiking and all
You
that.
deep dived me. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So to be honest, I went back to college later.
And I bring this up
anyway,
because
yeah.
it relates to feeding into Campthropology.
Oh, totally. Yeah. That was kind of like where I really, as an adult, I would say, really like reconnected with nature. In the McNair Scholars Program, honestly, I was camping a lot at the time, and we get like a research grant, and I asked my PI, my primary investigator, I was like, what can I use? What am I supposed to do with this money? Like, he's like, you can do whatever you want that helps you with your research. So I was like, I want some new camping gear. So,
Makes sense.
so I asked him, he's like, yeah. He's like, but you're gonna have to do like an ethnography, and he's like, you're gonna have to spend time on the trail. I was like, done. So I did 100 miles straight through, but I took 2 days off because I'm sure a lot of your community knows, like, I was like in way better hiking condition then. I was like, what I called it ultra loading. So I would put like cast iron in my bag and like do like day hikes just to get used to the weight and the elevation gain. I was great, prime condition. I had like probably like 60 to 80 miles on my shoes already. The one thing that failed me was my feet. The blisters. And I'm a trail runners
No.
person. I think that's one of the questions. I don't want to hop ahead. But
You know this podcast too well, my brother.
I'm a trail runners person for sure. And I knew to break them in, and I wore them a bunch, and I thought it'd be fine. But especially with the PCT, like the articulation of the trail, specifically going downhill, it looked like someone chewed up my feet and spit them out. My blisters were just horrible, and I didn't really know about like moleskin back then and like all the different ways to kind of prevent it. I listened to Lieutenant Dan. I was changing my socks, but my feet were really messed up. So I took a couple days off and then finished the last push up to Warner Springs. But I did it through once. And then what I did was I kind of bounced back and forth. I did like small sections.
Oh, you did trail angeling.
Trail angeling too, yeah. And specifically, where Scissors Crossing is, it's down by Julian. There's a bridge there that all the hikers hang out at. So I would just roll up with like when people are doing through hikes, they love a good chair because most people don't bring chairs. So I'd bring like a couple of these chairs, cooler of like beer, soda, and water, and I would like hot dogs. And then hikers will talk to you forever if you're feeding them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll sit down with you
Yeah.
the entire day.
Yeah.
They
So
won't want to leave.
Yeah, so I was basically just interviewing them, and I did some trail angling at Sibbets Flat, which is also one of my favorite campgrounds in San Diego. The PCT goes right along it. And I was just basically interested to see how, specifically with long distance hiking, how it transforms people, because a lot of people say that it's they come out the trail a different person. They come out. I think we talked in one of your podcasts. You were talking about place attachment as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I think that was the episode with Casey Schreiner, the founder of Modern Hiker.
Yeah, so you connect with spaces differently, which means your priorities in life change. You spend your money differently. So I was like, that's really interesting to see how the trail to me is like a portal. Like you go in as one person, you have this 2,600 mile experience, and you pop out someone completely different. And definitely with people, I learned then that people experience like post-hike depression for quite a while, and then people also kind of get addicted to it. People with like Triple Crown, it's like one of those healthy addictions. They want to do the AT after that, or the Continental Divide. But it was really interesting to see. What I was basically looking at was what elements of long distance hiking allow for you to reshape your sense of personhood and self and your positionality in the world. And it was really interesting to see certain things that, like for example, I don't think it's really a day hike kind of thing. I don't know, but on through hikes, usually you get like a trail name. And usually the trail name is given to you by the community. Like you don't pick it.
Do you have a trail name?
Steven Glansberg. Because I was hiking alone. And I don't know if you know the movie Superbad.
Steven
Where he's like, you gonna make me eat dessert like I'm fucking Steven Glansberg by myself?
Do other people know you have a trail name? I feel like I've never seen that in your content. Or you
No, I
mentioned
don't think I've ever said it. And there's been a couple like ones here and there. Some people like, because I was doing research, like some people like, oh, you're like the professor. And I'm like, yeah. But so I don't have like, there's been a couple here and there. But I don't spend, like, usually I feel like your trail names don't, I did just 100 miles. But usually trail names will start a little bit longer because you kind of have like these little pods as you're going along. And you also have like a trail family, which happens. It's like, and throughout the hike, like, you are hiking by yourself, but it is like a social hike too. Especially, I did my research after Wild came out, that movie, and after the movie, because the book came out before. So it went from like, a small amount of people attempting the trail to like quadrupling how many people attempted it. And in the first 100 miles, there's a lot of people. Like you're in like herds basically until it starts thinning out, because everybody has different paces, and hike your own hike, and then as you go up the trail, but you kind of get potted into people who have a similar pace and similar hiking style as you. So it's usually that's the people that give you a trail name that like sticks solidly back then. And then they're writing in trail logs the whole time, so usually you start using your trail name in the trail logs. So, but that's one of the elements that kind of allows yourself to leave your identity of city life, and you kind of get renamed, and you get to be this almost like, yeah, I guess it is kind of like cosplay in a way. Like you get to explore these different aspects of yourself that are no longer tied to your identity in the city.
You get to reinvent yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And so one of the anthropologists like I was kind of paralleling was Cheryl Mattingly, and that's what she was kind of saying. It's like it becomes this kind of laboratory where you can experiment with your sense of personhood, and there's certain elements that allow you to do that. One is like trail name. One of the other interesting things we're talking about too is, especially on long distance hiking, and I'm sure the day hikes that a lot of hikers that you hike with, there's some sections where you're just going, you kind of like that rhythmic aspect of hiking. You kind of, I guess it would be similar to like runner's high, right? So like with hiking, especially long distances, your body has a task to do, and it just does it over and over. It's one step at a time. Sometimes it's uphill, sometimes it's downhill, but it's that over and over. And when you're doing long distance hiking too, your goals are to hike, eat, sleep, and shit. Like use the bathroom. Basically becoming a baby, So once your physical body in long sleuth of time and space is basically doing this one rhythmic thing, that allows your mind to like start to like wander, think about things, prioritize important things, literally reshaping who your sense of person it is while your body's being like completely beat to the ground. So it's like you find these like spaces of solace within your own head while your body's going through probably like the most crazy thing it's ever done. You're eating probably 5,000 calories a day, hiking 20 miles, burning 6,000 calories a day. But all those little aspects are almost like tools that can help you or allow you to reshape your sense of personhood, and you bring that into your life off trail. You kind of have like two separate versions of yourself, and one's kind of working on the other, and there's interplay a lot at first. So I was just really interested to see how people experience that.
It's how special you got to section hike section A of the
Yeah.
PCT. That's from, you said, Campo to Warner Springs.
Warner Springs, yeah.
So you through hiked that. That took you probably like 5 to 10 days.
5
something
days,
like that?
yeah. But at that time I was doing 20 miles a day. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was a lot for me back then, especially because I was by no means ultralight. Like my back, if you saw my hiking setup now from back then, people would laugh at me. They're like, "Bro, that's an Eagle Creek like traveling bag. That's not a hiking bag, dude." Like it had like an internal, what do they call it? Like the internal skeleton or whatever. Like so, it was like the support and everything, and it had the straps, but the bag was designed to like travel the world, So it wasn't ultralight by any means, but that's what it's a testament to, like, just get out there, just get out there. It's definitely, once you start doing it a lot, if I had an ultralight hiking setup, or like Molly has one of those Tyvek bags, it definitely would have made it a lot more enjoyable, And at the beginning too, it's so dry in the desert section. I was definitely really concerned, so I carried way more water than I needed, which is the heaviest thing you're carrying a lot of times. But yeah, it was a great experience nonetheless. And I still want to get back into hiking for sure. That's on my list, like day backpacking trips and stuff.
And after you did that through hike, you hung around and then stayed around certain sections to Trail Angel? Like, what is that all about?
Yeah, so basically I did, because I wanted to, a lot of with anthropology and ethnographies, it's like, it's you're supposed to like immerse yourself in the experience to truly get the most from it. So I had to attempt and do the first 100 miles, to go through that pain, to go through the motions of worrying about water if you're going to get there, reading the trail logs to see if there's water ahead, the whole experience of like being like, this is my first night out here and like there's nobody here. This is kind of freaky, I'm like 50 miles from the nearest road, or what, I don't think it's that much, like 30 miles from the nearest road. So that when I was going back, and it wasn't like back to back. I did the trail, and then I waited like a couple weeks, and then I would go back and hang out. It's not that far from where I live, yeah. So it wasn't back to back. Because after I hiked it, I had questions. Now I was like, wow, I wonder if other people are experiencing this. Like, I wonder if other people get blisters from the downhills. I wonder if other people, where they slept, where they decided to stop, what decided to motivate them to push. And like, even for me, kind of like what thoughts were going through my head. So like on the 20-mile days, it took me all day. I'm a slow but steady hiker. So all the things that were popping up in my head, I was also curious too, were they also popping up for other people? Like, what are you thinking when you're starting this hike? And I was just doing 100 miles, so I was trying to put myself in the mentality of like I was doing the full thing, because it's like it's one step at a time, and it seems like something larger than life to do, but like one step at a time you can accomplish it. You know, a lot of people have and do still to this day. So yeah.
Do you want to go back and ever in the future do the entire thing?
Man, it's not off my list for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But another one of the big things too that I came across in the research is a lot of people doing that trail because it requires 4 to 6 months to
Yeah.
basically not work. A
It's
lot of
just hard
people
logistically to pull off.
exactly, and so that means a lot of people were in very transitional parts of their lives, whether it be graduating high school or college, recently divorced, recently retired, you know, recently lost someone they loved. So it's like when people were have these I won't say gap, but when people have these times in their life that it feels like your whole life is shooken up, the people that are on the trail choose to go to nature to find themselves, you know? And that's something like historically, like when I was in community college, I did a project too. Where I was looking at, you know, different religious figures and, you know, Abraham, you know, Muhammad, they all went out, you know, Joseph Smith, any religion you go, they went all into nature to have some type of spiritual awakening. And I don't think that's an accident, you know, like
I agree.
it's out here where we find what makes us human, what connects us to why we're here. And it doesn't give us answers, but I feel like it gives a feeling of almost like you have an answer, but you don't know what it actually is. But it kind of calms you in that way,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah,
and that was
being in that
interesting.
environment and setting, whether it's the mountains, the ocean, it unlocks something deep inside of you or helps you reframe your perspective on your life.
Most definitely. Yeah, yeah. And it can be small amounts of time, you know, it doesn't have to be huge, long through hikes. I'm really into the Japanese it's a concept called Shinrin Yoku, which I came across when I was looking at PCT. It was just a blip on my radar in my research, but full circle now, Shinrin Yoku, a lot of the research is coming out of there from I think it's Ching Lee has a PhD in, oh, I forget, but he's the author of Forest Bathing. If anybody's looking for a book, and I've been seeing that a lot on Instagram lately, it's like spending 3 days in nature is the best way to up your natural killer cells that kill cancer, you know? And I've been seeing a lot of comments of people saying, cite your sources, which I think is great. Honestly, I don't know what their intentions are. People are like, all these people are citing sources. Start with this book. It's a great place to start. It's called Forest Bathing, and it gives you the scientific research and breakdown of what just spending 20 minutes mindful in nature at a local park does to your cortisol levels, what it does to, which is the stress hormone, what it does to your blood pressure, what it does to your sense of mind, what it does to your heart rate. And it's a combination of a lot of things. It's being out, it could be the temperature regulation. All the trees are releasing, I think they're called phytoncides. Basically, it's like this aromatherapy aspect that really calms your nervous system, you know? So yeah, it's extremely valuable to be outside, and those are all the things that I was, you know, experiencing on the trail and trying to capture in some way, sense, or form. I don't remember what the question was. Now I'm not going off.
No,
I'm trying
no,
to kind of circle back.
you're answering it. We were just talking about that insane experience of through hiking 100 miles of the
Oh yeah,
PCT
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and how you were a trail angel
yeah.
and how you went back and were, when you were a trail angel, was there any particular thing that you were like helping out with that like you felt was the through hikers were like really loving or like was
Oh,
it
dude,
like,
food and a chair. Like, so even in that, and that's one of the things too. Especially with hiking long distances, like we're still living in a world too. Like, obviously, I love food. I'm a big dude. Out there was one of the first times like I realized like, oh shit, like my blood sugar's like low, like, and it's like that. It reminded me of that Snickers commercial where like dude, what the fuck am I out here? Like, this is, can I cuss on the podcast, by the way? I forgot.
yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
I was like,
You're allowed to freely
okay,
express
okay, cool,
yourself.
yeah. But like I was like, what, dude, this sucks. Like, I'm just gonna stop. Like, what am I even doing? And then I would literally like eat something and be like, oh, dude, I feel way better, you know. Um, so like experiencing that out there was like crazy in itself. You know, experiencing that for the first time, experiencing the first time setting up camp when there's nobody around, and like once the sun goes down, you're like, what do I do now? Like, I don't think back then the phones didn't even have like a lot of service out there. So I had my phone, but there's no service. It wasn't, social media wasn't that big back then.
This was
Which
2016 or 2017 when you did it?
2016.
Okay.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, 16. And I think that was before TikTok, because now and that's one of my favorite things. If you're on TikTok specifically, when people attempt their hike during basically March to April, I love watching everybody attempting to hike the PCT, because people are, and they just upload when they get into town. That would have made my research way easier, and I probably could have got more people But ultimately, it's really cool to see that reaffirms like everybody experiences the same thing. Like it's the same trail for everybody. You know, you just kind of everybody brings our own baggage out there to process it, but it's the same tool that everybody's using out there. Um, yeah, so it was a great time. Um, and I was like, I backpacked. One of the great backpacking trips too is the Trans Catalina Trail.
Oh, I've always
So I did
wanted to do
that,
that.
dude. Beautiful trail. I did that before I did the PCT. That was like one of my training hikes too, like to get into backpacking. But
So rad.
yeah, absolutely beautiful trail. Um, Breathtaking views when you're like on the crests of the mountain. There's like ocean around you. Definitely, especially living out here, I feel like it's a must for everybody because it's such a unique experience.
I mean,
Like,
the fact that we have islands off the coast of the mainland that we
right?
can visit, like Catalina, like I was there, but it was for my senior year spring break on Carnival
Yeah,
cruise,
yeah,
you know, partying over there
yeah,
on the way to Ensenada.
yeah, yeah.
I've been to Channel
Oh
Islands
yeah, Channel Islands
across
too. Yeah.
from Ventura mainland, and that place is so special. I keep forgetting like we have these islands just off the mainland that you can just
Yeah,
have
you can
these
hike and
magical
camp
outdoor
out there too.
experiences.
Yeah, I heard that the Trans Catalina, it's a pretty long wait for a permit now. But I've seen some people doing Channel Islands too. I think you just have to like reserve a campground out there. And there's a little bit of a like a red tape process, but I feel like it's a lot easier than Catalina. So I highly recommend those hikes out there.
I fell in love with Channel Islands National Park. I did it as a solo birthday gift to myself last
Oh,
year.
nice, nice.
Just did like went out there for a day, did like this 10-mile day hike. It was very special. It
That's
felt like you
amazing.
had it all to yourself because it's one of the most least visited national
Visitors, yeah,
parks
yeah, yeah.
in the country. Wait, have you been there?
I have not been there. Yeah.
Yeah, get on out there. I need to go
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Catalina. You need to go to Channel
Yeah, yeah,
Islands.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Dude.
And you mentioned earlier you were talking about TikTok.
Yeah.
I actually want to ask you about that. Like, how did that outdoor content creator, like journey start for you?
It just kind of started on accident, to be honest. Also, disclaimer too, I would say when I first got on TikTok, I did a lot of research on ByteDance. I like, because TikTok is, I would say, a beast in itself of an algorithm and a time suck and a tool. You know, we don't have to get too deep into it.
Oh, the parent company ByteDance
Yes, correct. Yeah.
of TikTok.
Yes,
Okay,
because I was
gotcha.
hearing at the time, remember when Instagram was kind of feeling a little stale? Like, you know,
Yeah.
it was before Instagram's algorithm basically copied TikTok's. So I was very mindful when I joined TikTok because everybody's like, this is crazy. And I was like, what does that even mean? Like, so I took a week and I used Instagram by itself, made, you know, note of how I was feeling before, during, after using it. And I was like, all right, let me try TikTok now. It was like, you know, main vein. Once you train the algorithm,
Very true.
your dopamine, it just gives you exactly what you want to see. So I was looking at, you know, and they say you have to interact with it too, so it learns it. So I was liking and following and saving camping content, hiking content, outdoor stuff, music stuff, poetry stuff. So I started looking at, you know, like, and I would watch YouTube, like overland content, and I was always like really looking, oh, the overlanders are so cool, you know, like, it's so awesome with these big $1,000 billion rigs. So I was like, all right, let me just like give content a shot. I guess another shot because I guess when you really think about it, I've been doing content for like a long time, but it wasn't until I found the outdoor camping niche where I just posted a couple of videos and one about dispersed camping at yellow post sites.
What is a
Where
yellow post site? I've heard you say that term before. I don't know what that means.
yeah, so yellow post sites, I believe they're specific to San Bernardino National Forests. They're basically designated campsites in our national forests that there's literally a yellow post in it and you can camp there for free for up to 14 days, but usually there are low to zero amenities, meaning there's no bathroom, there's no running water, there's no trash collection. Sometimes there's a picnic table, sometimes there's a fire pit, but that's it. So you have to really be self-reliant when you're out there. You have to follow all the leave no trace principles. So you have to bring your own trash bag, you have to bring your own poo bucket, you have to leave no trace, or leave it better than you found it, as we say now too. But they're all over San Bernardino National Forests. You do definitely highly recommend having some type of all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive vehicle with a little clearance. I would not take a clapped Honda Civic out there. You will get stuck.
You get stuck.
And sometimes the trails are fine until they're not, and you can be pretty deep out there. And if you've been an hour already, you're like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna, you know, and you get stuck. Now you're an hour from the road. I would say it's something a lot of people want to build up to. So I posted like a camping video about like out there, and then I realized it's like, oh, a lot of people want to camp or are interested in it but don't know how. Like I was like, oh, like watching this like, top tier overland content, but really the need is down here for people that were curious, that wanted to know but didn't know where to start. So then I just started doing like small gear review videos, about like gear, good camping practices. Like one of my taglines is keep your camp safe, clean, and informed. Like those are the pillars of my channel. So I would just go with that. Like camp safety. How do you properly put out a campfire? How do you dispose and store your trash when you're overlanding? How do you go to the bathroom? That was the biggest barrier to entry to people, is how do I take a crap when I'm camping, especially dispersed camping. So the epic poo view is funny, but the deeper philosophy behind it is kind of taking the stigma out of like, this is something that I can't do because I don't know how to making it fun. Like I painted my poop bucket gold. You know what I mean? Like so.
Gold is a great color too.
Yeah, dude. I was like, let's just make it fun so that people, it's like, one, it educates, two, it inspires people, three, it's fun, and it allows you to then go outside. You're like, oh, okay, like, and people are like, oh, isn't that gross? Like, what are people gonna think? I'm like, dude, this is the thing to do. Like, this is
You
making
just gotta own it.
Exactly, you just gotta own it, man. So, and my thing is, I used to use like a little pop-up tent that you go inside, which is good if there's other people, because sometimes when you're overlanding, there are other people or like dispersed camping. But my favorite thing to do, like, if let's say this what we were like dispersed camping, is just like, guys, I'll be back. I'll take the bucket, like 200 yards that way, just sit under a blanket of stars and just do your business. And then you never go back to pooping inside four walls again. It's never the same. You're always thinking about it, just like under a blanket of stars. It's like, you don't even need a phone. Like,
Yeah. I feel like when you have experiences like that with like a bodily function that you're scared of to do, like in the outdoors, it just flips your whole world upside down.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is amazing.
And it's like, you're like, wow, this is what we were designed. This is how we were designed to do it. Like, they're not gonna put me in a wall in a little room that's stinky, like. So, yeah, that's kind of the whole philosophy behind the epic poo view is that. Yeah.
Would you say those were like the pieces of content that you saw in the beginning when you're uploading it, besides the how to set up your tent and camp safely and all that, that really started going viral for you, and you getting known like in the content creation scene or TikTok? Yeah.
So that's when and also too, ByteDance hired a whole team that was gonna push educational content, and that's right when TikTok had that STEM button where you can go for like more science oriented stuff. And what's crazy is the algorithms, I don't know how it can pick up if you are like teaching something. So if it's like educational content, and I think I just hit this little sweet spot where it was pushing that. One, also two, I was like, I was doing like all this whatever gear I had, like I didn't have any brand sponsorships or anything. And I just want people to know what to buy, because a big thing, especially with camping and also hiking, is barrier to entry. Is like, gear's not cheap. Like there's no. So my thought was like, my setup now is dialed to the point where I've probably bought every piece of gear like 2 or 3 times until I found what worked for me. So now when people say like, hey, what kind of mattress do you use? I ask a couple questions like, hey, are you a side sleeper? Do you sleep warm? Do you sleep cold?
Yeah, you got to ask those questions.
Do you need a pillow? Do you have a lot of space for a big one? Do you need it really small? So then I can basically save people from having to buy things multiple times. So if anybody ever has any questions about camping gear, especially if you see it in my content, shoot me a DM. I'm more than happy to answer. Like this, if you're this kind of camper, this will probably work for you. But also between all of our, all the homies, I could also reach out to someone else that uses a different pad because they are a hot sleeper. Like I tend to sleep warm, so but people that tend to sleep cold use different stuff. It's the outdoor experience is so subjective. That's one of the beautiful things about it. But that can also be very intimidating, because you're like, where do I start? Like, if you aren't someone that sees yourself outside and that is outside, you're like, well, how am I going to spend all this money if I don't even know who I am? So I try to want to alleviate that, to like provide people with more information so that they can get outside, and like save a little money while they're doing it too. You don't have to have the best gear. Like, get out there. I'm a big, this is a big controversial thing too sometimes. It's like, I'm a big advocate for getting the Ozark brand, Walmart,
I recently camped in one of those tents because I couldn't find my one tent, and my friend let me borrow it, and I was like, this works.
Yeah.
It actually worked.
Dude, and it'll work. If you camp, I would say like a normal person, like, 3 to 5 times a year, that tent's gonna last you forever. If you're a psychopath like me and you're camping almost every weekend, that's when you want to get a little bit better gear, because it can take more of a beating, especially when you're out in different weather. But if you're going in like temperate weather, dude, most camp gear will last you a long time. And if you decide to stay in the scene and you like it, then it becomes fun because then you can like you start doing research on your different stuff
True,
for
yeah.
yourself. Yeah, so it's a lot of different. The journey of being outside is beautiful, you know, like in all aspects of it.
Yeah, there's many layers to it. If you
Totally.
stick around, you can really dive into the bells and whistles of what you
Yeah.
really want in that gear
You get as
or
deep
apparel.
as you want. Yeah, definitely.
And you've worked with a ton of outdoor brands, campaigns, partnerships, affiliate partnerships. Like, is there any projects or like content pieces that you're really proud of producing or being a part of with any of these brands that you've been blessed to work with?
Yeah, definitely. Probably I'm a Snow Peak ambassador, and I always
Yes,
say,
you are.
yeah,
We gonna talk about that because I just got more familiar with that brand the past year and a half, and when I saw that you're an ambassador, I'm like, oh, like all of his stuff is Snow Peak.
yeah. I'm very fortunate to have a really nice Snow Peak setup, but I always say
We have a special cameo, y'all. Come on down. Introduce yourself.
the hot dog herself.
What is the name of the hot dog?
Trick or treat. I wish I had a Modelo for you. I should have brought an extra one.
You can have that one.
Yeah, there you go. Get the troublemaker right there.
What is your name? Hot dog?
What is my name? Hebrew National.
Hebrew National.
Only the good stuff.
This is our one audience member in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to stretch my legs. My name is Molly. Nice to meet you guys.
Also-
At Dewey, the
Dew-
element.
Dewey Element.
Dewey Element. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Molly's one of the straight camp homies. Also camp homie founder. And if you watch my content, you'll see a lot of the hot dog suit recently.
Hot
Yeah.
dog suit.
But yeah, we camp all the time together. Yeah.
Should we have wore a costume too? It's
I didn't even
Halloween
bring a
Eve.
costume. I know.
We're messing
We're
up.
slipping. We're slipping, dude. Yeah.
Halloween Eve and we're not even wearing something.
I know. Dang, I know. Dude, now that you say that, what are we doing?
Maybe I'll find something in my trunk.
I know, yeah.
Wait, so I saw in your bio Camp Homies. What is that real quick?
So Camp Homies is a collective that consists of a few of us that we camp together a lot, first and foremost. So when I first started, everybody was like, you need to do a group trip. And something you might identify with too. Yeah.
She's
all right,
leaving. Don't leave
hot
us.
dogs out. Hot dogs out.
Thanks for the cameo.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you, Molly.
Love that.
Is the back split? Like a split hot dog down the middle? That's amazing.
It's a risque costume.
I know, it can be too. You just put it the other way around. Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, so like especially when I started I don't know, like kind of growing a following, immediately people were like, "We need a group trip. You need a group trip," you know. And I was like, dang, because I'm such a rule follower and my pillars are keep it safe, clean, and informed, I was like, there's no way I can take people out there if it's just me, you know. So in my mind, I was like, I need a group of homies. Like, I need a group that can, just like you're saying, if you're the only person working, you know, like at a hike, it kind of feels like work because you're concerned about a lot of peripheral things, safety, everybody's experience. I was like, so I need a crew that I can do this with. And so I just, you know, put it out there in the universe, and I'm just keep camping. And then, you know, eventually, like, started talking to people on TikTok and Instagram, and after, you know, kind of talking a while, we're like, hey, yeah, let's do a trip. So we did a couple, like, not a group trip, like little one-off trips, and that eventually grew to like our core group of people. So it's basically me, Molly, the homie Ryan, Alex, Ashley, and Whitney. We're kind of like the core of, all right, now that we have this little group, we're going to start to do like more group experiences and stuff.
That's awesome. That's great that you have that membership or crew in place to help you with curating these experiences.
Totally, yeah. And we all like social media, and we all do that. So it's cool to just have a group of homies to go out and fuck around the forest with, like, honestly, and drink some beers. And and we, like, you know, gather and, like, you know, talk about, like, it's weird to say, like, you know, I feel like our age too, and like especially the millennials, it's like it's honestly like we're straight up about it. It was something we would love to do for a living, you know, like let the board meeting be around the campfire, you know, stuff like that. And that's what it feels like. And we take it seriously as well, but we just kind of established in 2025. So, but we have some pretty big plans. Hopefully we're going to do our first like official group experience probably about a year from now. We're hoping to, and it'll be like really cool. Like
looking forward to that.
Yeah,
Stay
definitely.
tuned, y'all.
Definitely, yeah.
Follow them. I think it's a camp.homies
yeah.
on Instagram.
Camp.homies, yeah.
Also on TikTok or just Instagram?
I think we do have a TikTok, but we haven't. I think we just have it so it's reserved, but we haven't posted anything there yet.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
definitely.
Before we had the cameo of the hot dog. To backtrack, I believe we were talking about, I was asking you about any particular projects or content pieces that you're
Oh,
really
yeah, yeah.
proud of with certain brands that you're working with, and I believe you were talking about Snow Peak.
Snow Peak, yeah. I'm super humbled and proud to be a Snow Peak ambassador because I always say, I'm not quite sure why I'm a Snow Peak ambassador. Because Snow Peak is, it's basically for anybody that's not familiar, it's a Japanese camping brand that sells really premium, high value, high quality, but also high price camping gear. And it's beautiful gear. I call it's like when I roll out my whole Snow Peak setup, it's like Pinterest worthy. You know, every time I'm at a campground and I have my Snow Peak setup, literally rangers will stop by and be like, "Oh my god, like what is this stuff?"
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so it really creates a very different vibe at camp that really challenges again, a cultural overlay that really challenges the American style, camping style and experience, I think.
What is the American style camping, would you say?
So a lot of camping. So another great book is called Campgrounds by. Oh my gosh, I'll send you the link, or DM me if anybody wants to know. But it kind of gives you the history of how camping came into being in America, and a lot of it started after the Civil War, and when soldiers would, find camaraderie outside and still camp around too. And I feel like because it came from kind of those roots, a lot of times in American camping, you get a lot of, and you run into it. People say, "Oh, that's not camping," because you bring, I don't know, a table or something, a luxury item, right?
Oh, I see.
So if you're not like, I feel like a lot of times too, people think that camping has a element of suffering built into it, or it's not camping, So, and a lot of times too, in the States, even in outdoor culture, a lot of times nature is the background through which we challenge ourselves. So it's not like we're hiking miles or we're roughing it outdoors or we're pushing ourselves to the limits or we're mountaineering. Nature's always been a place through which an interplay of challenging and honestly, like, 'cause sometimes I feel like you're struggling against it a lot of times. But the Japanese relationship with nature brings an element of it's also a place to just relax and heal and enjoy yourself, and it can be that too. So Snow Peak is very present in bringing that to the campsite, but also it's like, so I'm sleeping in a pop-up tent tonight. Like I work with I use a lot of brands, not just Snow Peak, but even like setting up a tent, right? I feel like people love, you know, pop-up tents in general because I would say the American camping experience is like, I need to fucking hurry up and get outside and fucking relax. So it's like you want to do it as fast as possible. But through Snow Peak and understanding the setting up a tent as an art form and as a ceremony of craftsmanship, especially if you're camping with your family or your homies, you take time and love putting together or curating this experience or campsite so that your loved ones can come and have a healing, beautiful, great experience camping. So that's what Snow Peak means to me, and bringing that element to the outdoors. So like my IGT system there, like we'll hang out around there tonight and we'll just like eat and drink for hours. And like that's what I want to bring to you as a gift, is that experience of sharing food, sharing memories, sharing beverages, and the interplay of that versus, and it's not to say that one's right or better than the other, but for sure Snow Peak is showing me a very different side of being outdoors and belonging outdoors than the American style. And there's benefits in both for sure, like hands down. It's just cool to experience something different, that is still camping, but a lot of times people will see a Snow Peak setup and be like, that's not camping, you know.
I love the diversity though, because it's like the Snow Peak experience, or the way what it looks like to me is like you're bringing the comforts of the home out into the natural world, the outdoors.
Totally,
with
yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah.
This beautiful like muted neutral colors, high premium craftsmanship. It's funny, one of my hiking crewmates, he works in fashion, and he would always bring up to me like, "Oh yeah, I got this new Snow Peak gear," and I wasn't familiar.
Snow Peak is big on streetwear. In
Exactly.
Europe, especially too. Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
And I was like, Snow Peak, like, he's like, "Oh, you're not familiar?" Like, he was like describing it to me, and I was like, "Is it kind of like the supreme of like the outdoor scene?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's kind of like that." And
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, okay, I get it then."
Yeah, totally. and also very utilitarian. It's very useful. Like this is a Snow Peak. It's like the unofficial Snow Peak uniform.
I love vests,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
There's a certain name for that vest too, right?
Yeah, this is the Takibi vest. Yeah.
Takibi.
And so Takibi is also a Japanese word for, and kind of the entire Snow Peak brand is built around this idea of the Takibi, which is like bonfire, as a central place for the campground in which life happens. So a lot of their, like, this is the Takibi vest. So it's also like the material in this was inspired and made from the Japanese fire department because it's ember resistant.
Oh, that's
you know?
sick. That's
so
really
there's a lot
dope.
of those details. Like I'm not gonna lie, like this, if you go and Google this vest right now, I guarantee you, do it right now. Stop the podcast. You'll be like, what the? No way in hell. You know what I mean?
Premium pricing.
Yeah, premium pricing. But to me, the experience that it brings, like I love wearing this camping because there's so many pockets. Like I hang a light off it. It's like very utilitarian, but also, and Snow Peak is also like a language. When you can speak the language and you're familiar with the gear, it curates a camping experience that I have not seen any other brand do. And a lot of their gear is also modular, so it works together, fits together.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that IGT table there's burners, there's tabletops, you can do charcoal, and so it's a whole ecosystem of gear, basically.
I'm very excited, like after this recording, just to like get familiar with the Snow Peak brand more, like hands-on, and
Yeah,
see
yeah.
you working with it and sitting in the camping chairs,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just really paying attention to the minute details. Because I noticed that too, like with the Snow Peak gear, like there's so many little bells and whistles, and it's modular, and you're like, you can really go down the rabbit hole of like how this brand really designs everything.
Yeah, and it can be really intimidating too, you know. So, in that same thing too, like so, like I said, I'm super honored to be a Snow Peak ambassador. So one of the things I want to bring to the table is making that step into Snow Peak easier for someone that's super intimidated, because that's like the next tier. If like you're spending $300 on something, you want to know how it works. You want to know the ins and outs. You want to know how to set it up. You want to know how to put it away. So I feel like that's where I'm trying to contribute to Snow Peak. So I hope I'll give you a good experience tonight using the Snow Peak stuff for sure.
I'm sure you will. Did you have like a piece of content that caught their attention, or how did that
Oh,
Snow Peak ambassadorship happen?
I don't know specifically. I should ask Sav, my contact there. But back to when I first got on TikTok, when I was reviewing brands and like gear, a lot of brands weren't on TikTok yet. So I'd hashtag them, knowing once a brand came on, they're gonna look for their own product.
Very smart.
You know?
Very
so
smart.
I did the Takibi pack and fold. So it's basically this origami fire pit that's stainless steel that you can use as a fire pit or you can use as a grill. Also in California too, if you're dispersed camping and you are in an area in which you are allowed to have a fire outside of a designated fire pit, it for sure has to be off the ground. I think it's 4 inches. So the Takibi keeps fires off the ground, so you can cook on it. It's great for that. So I just did a review video on that, and I didn't know hashtag Snow Peak. And I feel like once they joined TikTok, they followed me shortly after that. And then shortly after that, they reached out and were like, hey, can we send you some stuff? And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, it definitely dream brand to work with. Like,
Yeah,
I was
you
like,
must
oh
have
my
lost
gosh.
your shit when
Oh my
you saw
God.
that
Yeah,
message.
I was like, there's no way, this is a spam account. I was like, they're gonna steal my info or something. And to this day, like, if you look at, like, a lot of the other homies, Snow Peak ambassadors now are homies too, you know?
That's so rad.
And I love their content to death. It's super beautiful, super curated. That is not my content. You know, my content's very rough around the edges. I'm pooping in buckets. I'm, playing with fingerboards. I'm doing wild stuff out there. So I always say I don't know why I'm a Snow Peak ambassador, to be honest.
They
But
needed diversity.
Yeah, definitely. But I definitely feel honored. I appreciate being able to represent Snow Peak in that way, for sure.
Right on. And I know a bit further in, we'll talk about your Snow Peak Way experience
Yeah,
up in Big
yeah.
Sur, and actually in this park that we're recording in right now.
Yeah.
So always on this show, I want the listeners to explore new places that our guests have done. So I'd love to know, Rolland, since you are a camping connoisseur, and typically I ask the guests about their top trails, which I'm sure I'll ask you about, like some of your favorite local SoCal trails or San Diego trails, but what would you say are your top 3 camping destinations in California at this very moment, and why?
Okay, so I'd say for me personally, or what I think people would be a good step for them.
Let's say
to go camping.
personally.
Okay, personally. Man, I really have been loving the past year. You said top 3?
Top 3, yeah.
Okay, whole swath of area is Anza Borrego State Park in San Diego. The last year, I've really fallen in love with desert camping. That's one for sure. Another one is Mount Laguna, also San Diego, where Grant lives out there.
Gallivanting with Grant.
Man, let's see a third one.
Yeah, take a moment. I know
Yeah,
you've
let's
been to
see.
a lot of places all over Cali.
I would say too, one that's a little bit more accessible too. So is Cleveland National Forest, which is huge. It goes from San Diego all the way to like parts up here. And Laguna Mountain is within Cleveland National Forest, but those are probably my areas that I love the most. If you're looking for specific campgrounds, which I feel like a lot of people are curious about, even so, this is one that I would recommend to someone new, but I also still love going there. If you're in San Diego, it's Paso Picacho Campground inside Cuyamaca State Park, which is inside Cleveland National Forest.
Gotcha. I've done Cuyamaca Peak.
Yeah, Cuyamaca. So it's a campground. Basically, did you go through the campground at the trailhead there? There's two
Yes,
ways
I
up.
do remember we
That
walked through
campground.
campgrounds.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a beautiful area.
Yes, I absolutely love that area, and I'll give you an insider tip too, because we don't gatekeep here.
All right.
During the winter months, if you go and try to make a reservation, it'll say that you can't make a reservation, so people think it's closed, but it actually turns into first come first served. Now it can get super cold there, so definitely bring extra blankets. Usually around winter they do allow fires, so bring firewood. But I can almost guarantee you, if you go when it's off season, you can get a spot for sure. I go there all the time, and there's like 80 sites there, and there's maybe like 1 to 4 other campers there. Flush bathrooms, hot showers, great entry level one. There usually is a host there even too in the off season. So if you want to solo camp and you want to get into it, but you're a little uneasy, it's great to have like a camp host there, to kind of alleviate some of the fears of stuff, being out there super remote, but you still feel like you're like out there camping for sure.
Sick. Thanks for that local camping hack. I do
Yeah.
remember that area because
Yeah.
that's one of the few trails and peaks that I have done in San Diego.
Yeah, have you done, which is right across the street from the campground, but close to the trailhead, Stonewall Peak?
I've seen it, and someone mentioned it on that hike, on that group hike that I joined, and I definitely said if I come back to this area,
Totally.
I got to do Stonewall.
Yeah, that's right across from the campground, and a great hike if you're staying at the campground.
Yeah, it looks like a short and action-packed one with a little bit of rock scrambling. Very doable.
Yeah, towards the end, there's a railing, for sure.
Okay.
But it's like, I'm a little afraid of heights, but you can hang on to it. You can do it. It's manageable.
For sure. All right, let's recap real quick. You said Anza Borrego, you said Mount Laguna, and then what was your third we were just talking about?
Cleveland National Forest.
Cleveland. See, I have yet to explore the Cleveland National Forest. Like, we just have so much in Southern California. I've been in actually, you said Cuyamaca is actually in Cleveland, right? Or kind of outside of it?
Yes, correct, yeah. So it's like the National Forest is Cleveland National Forest, and then Cuyamaca State Park is within that, and then Paso Picacho is the campground.
Okay, so I have been in Cleveland National Forest. I just didn't
But it's
realize
big. It comes all the way up to like the 74. That's Cleveland National.
That's 74, the Ortigas.
Yes.
The haunted one.
Yeah.
And since you are a San Diego local, hiking, camping, backpacking, any particular or favorite San Diego local trails you'd love to share?
Yeah, actually, my favorite trail, and it sounds intimidating because it's 10 miles, but I feel like it's like under 400 elevation gain. It's kind of like little ingress. It's called the Big Laguna Trail.
Big Laguna Trail.
And you can loop it if you park at Penny Pines Trailhead. Look at Penny Pines Trailhead, Big Laguna Trail loop. You're on the PCT for a little bit. It looks down into Anza Borrego State Park, so you get like a little bit of crest, a little bit of good views. Then it goes into like Laguna Meadow. Then you get like my favorite outdoor feature is I love meadows. So it goes along the meadow, and then it comes into like the pine forest there.
Ooh.
So you get a little taste of everything in 10 miles. And I've taken people that don't really hike there, and they're maybe a little like sore, but because there's almost no elevation gain, it's like basically a flat loop. It's really cool. That's for sure hands on my favorite hike.
Big Laguna Lake.
The Big Laguna Trail.
A trail.
Yeah.
Okay, duly noted.
Great hike. It's near Julian, so if you're there, go to Julian after, go to the brewery. It's a cool little San Diego mountain town. You hit Nickel Brewery. They have a couple, just a cute little Instagrammy mountain town out there.
Get the pie, right?
Yeah, the pie, Julian pie.
I remember after we did Cuyamaca Peak, a bunch of us went to Julian.
Oh yeah.
To get that pie, because
Oh,
it's a must,
great.
right?
Yeah, it's a PCT town too. So if you are hiking to PCT and you go in there, they give free pie. Mom's Pie Shop gives free pie to PCT hikers.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
The perks of being a PCT hiker. All
Yep,
the local businesses that want to
Totally.
make sure you are fueled and
Yep.
ready to rock.
Yep.
So you've also gained a ton of immense knowledge out in the wilderness, out on your camping trips. Can you just share some simple tips and tricks for newbie campers?
Yeah, for newbie campers, I gotta go look back and find it, but I heard one creator on a podcast say that every trip is experienced 3 times. One when you're doing the research, one when you're actually on the trip, and then when you're looking back at the memories. For new campers, I would say really use Google Earth, like explore areas online. And then also too is use your gear in your backyard or on your balcony. You know, like use your gear before you get out there, whatever you decide to go with. Become familiar with it. Keep it super simple. You know, like one of the things I always tell people is if you want to go camping, you're like one of the big things people is like food. What do I do when I'm out there? Go for a one night and bring a pizza. You know, like bring some sandwiches. Like, you know, so it alleviates that big part of concerns, so you can see if you actually like being out here. So once you go through that journey, you can start making it more elaborate, you know, and getting gear. So I'd say one, keep it simple for sure, and two, I would also say research the area that you're going and look for certain like rules and regulations, you know. And I feel like too in that process you'll learn a lot. And that's one of the things like we're saying, like, you know, gatekeeping. I didn't realize how big gatekeeping would be when I joined the outdoor scene, you know. So one of my big things is that to combat gatekeeping, like I'm gonna be a locksmith and I'm gonna show people how to pick locks. I'm not gonna open it for them, but I'm gonna show you how to pick a lock. So in the process of learning how to find spots, you come across a lot of information that you will appreciate, you know, respect, and take care of spots. And so that's what a lot of people that are gatekeeping say is like, well, they do the work themselves. But I think it's like, well, you need to show people how to. You don't have to show people your favorite spot, but show them, get them started on the process of finding their own spots, you know? Because everybody's like, find your own spot. But a lot of people, and they're, oh, well, there's just Google. And I've realized people that grew up in the outdoors can say that, you know, because it's second nature to them. No pun intended. But it's intimidating, you know? So I always tell people, just hop online and start looking at stuff. Look at the stuff that looks cute or cool or badass, whatever you're looking at outdoors that makes you feel good. Look at that and start researching it, and just start going down those rabbit holes, you know. And then through that process, you will develop an appreciation, and you'll feel way more prepared when you get out there because you've seen it done. That's one of the beauties of utilizing social media is you can see things happen kind of before you do them. And I guarantee you, you'll still have a novel experience because no trip is the same. So it's not like, oh, then it's not fun because I've seen it done. I guarantee you something will happen that you'll be like, oh shit, this is different. And then that's another opportunity to learn and grow and kind of start your journey for sure.
And for the newbie campers, can you also just do a quick breakdown of the different kinds of camping out there? Because you know there's dispersed camping, there's
Totally.
camping like out here where there's like infrastructure.
Yeah, yeah. So one of the big things is like tent camping versus car camping, because some people like will sleep in their vehicle. That's what's traditionally called car camping. But also people call car camping like we're doing today. We're driving a vehicle to our campsite, and it's usually at a campground where there's amenities, and we're camping here. So that's usually like traditional style tent or car camping. And then I feel like the buzzword now, overlanding. And there's just so many like, what is overlanding technically? There's a lot of definitions and like, you know, people saying, but the best definition I heard is like overlanding is vehicle supported travel. So hiking it's basically your self-supported travel.
Yeah.
Overlanding is when you're relying on your vehicle to get you there, to store your food, to pack out your trash, to bring your bathroom set up. And overlanding or dispersed camping, a lot of times too, is basically when you're out camping on our public lands a lot of times with zero to no amenities. So you are kind of self-reliant. And usually that's like once you get some experience to try one of those is what I usually recommend. Start simple, you know, and if anybody has questions, if they have for their journey along the way, hit me up, you know.
And is dispersed camping always on BLM land, the Bureau of Land Management land, or not necessarily?
No, because so you could, it's national forest too. You could also camp for free in most national forest spots. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of national forest places you can kind of find a spot and camp. One of the leave no trace principles though is don't, if there's a bunch of like growth here, don't trample over that growth and start a new campsite. But if you are on forest roads in our national forest, a lot of times you do see little nooks where it's like a little flat cleared area to camp there. So
Oh,
it
I
can be
see.
national forest. State parks or national parks usually don't have dispersed camping. A lot of times you have to stay in designated campgrounds. But yeah, dispersed camping can be BLM, national forest. I think in like New Mexico it's called Bureau of Land Reclamation, but basically
Reclamation.
reclamation. Yeah, basically public lands that you are legally allowed to camp at, but there's usually no amenities. This is usually what they call dispersed camping.
Okay, thanks
Yeah.
for that breakdown.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I knew, like, even when I was getting into or trying to get into the camping scene, I was like, oh, there's like cowboy camping too.
Oh yeah, so so
To throw
cowboy
that in there real
cowboy
quick.
camping, I feel like, from my knowledge, specifically refers to when you're camping without a tent. So you're just like laying on the ground with like a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag.
Looking at the stars.
Exactly. One of the homies did that last night in Joshua Tree. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the desert is a great place, it seems, to do that, unless you're worried about scorpions, right?
Oh, dude, yeah, always. Like I don't know if I would cowboy camp just yet, because like when you're on the ground and your body's warm, that attracts all kinds of things to you, because they're also, especially if it's wintertime, you know.
Oh, Lord.
So yeah, I don't know if I still need a tent. I still need a tent. Yeah.
Still need that exterior. So I now want to take us from Southern California up to the Central Coast, where the dramatic landscapes of Big Sur await. Some call it the greatest meeting of land meets the sea. And you were there for California's first ever Snow Peak Way. Can you just share what this event is all about and why Snow Peak resonates with you so strongly?
Yeah, definitely. So Snow Peak Way is an event. So in the United States, there's 4 Snow Peak Ways that happen every year. There's one in New York. There's 2 at Long Beach, Washington's Camp Field, which is actually Snow Peak's actual campground. They have a Snow Peak campground called Camp Field. And now there's one in Big Sur, which is for the first year here. And that's in the United States. So Snow Peak is big in other countries like Japan, Korea, Taiwan. And in Japan, they have Snow Peak Ways almost monthly. I believe Snow Peak Way originally started as a way. So the story goes, at one point in time, Snow Peak wasn't doing as hot, and they felt like we need to do something because we need to connect with our customers and find out what's going on. So the Snow Peak team and CEO decided, we're going to camp out with our fellow users, not just staff, but users, and use this as an opportunity to connect with the people that love our products and take feedback from them and get some insight into how they're feeling as a culture and as people that love Snow Peak Way. Because Snow Peak Way really, it's kind of a little cult following. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's, people that are Snow Peak are very down for Snow Peak.
Very hardcore.
Very hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And so my first, or Snow Peak Way in general in Big Sur, same thing too. So I've been to 2 Snow Peak Ways. My first one was last year. And then this one, as an ambassador, I felt a little more comfortable and really understanding what the event is about. So I was able to like go around and like talk to people. So again, coming back to the Takibi time is really big in Snow Peak. Imagine if like this entire campground was filled with people that love Snow Peak, and you can literally walk up to anybody's campsite and just like sit down, and they'll, you know, give you a drink, and it's such a welcoming, warm community, that everybody that's enthusiasts of the brand and outdoors just come together and camp and share ideas and stories and hang out. And at the first Snow Peak Way I went to, I didn't realize like their whole, you know, like their C-suite team and like their upper level management, they're like out there with everybody, helping people set up tents, talking to people, you know, sharing ideas, food, everything. So it's really cool to see a brand where like literally the people that are like, I guess what you like top brass, are out there just like you and me, like you have a beer with them, you know, like shout out Noah, like, you know, we were sharing adobang mani. I brought some garlic peanuts with him, and he was like
Right
eating
on,
them,
yeah.
you know, like we're just, and it's really cool to be part of that and to experience an outdoor community like that. So you know, coming back to our Camp Homies event, I definitely want to cater a lot of ideas that came out of Snow Peak Way, and the idea of community and feedback and ceremony, with people and loved ones. So that's basically, in a nutshell, that's basically what Snow Peak Way is. Yeah.
And when you attended the Big Sur Snow Peak Way, in my understanding, it's this camping festival dedicated to, the Snow Peak community.
Yeah.
And I noticed from the one that you attended last year, there's many workshops. Like I listened to
Yeah.
your Campthropology podcast with the tea lady. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
a really
Yeah,
fascinating
Veronica.
conversation.
Shout out Bardo. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
listened to the first half of that. Were there any workshops or curated experiences from this Big Sur Snow Peak Way that really stood out to you or that really caught your attention?
Yeah, so actually this time I wanted to capture a bunch of content. So I didn't do a lot of workshops. So
Okay.
I did the tea ceremony with Veronica. But yeah, they had a fly fishing one this time because Snow Peak just acquired a fly fishing company.
I've always wanted to try fly fishing. I see a lot of content nowadays on fly fishing.
Yeah, so fly fishing is definitely, and I saltwater fly fish, so it's a completely different rig and setup. But fly fishing is really fun.
Yeah.
It's difficult for sure, just getting, you know, the art of getting your line to do what you need it to do. But they have a workshop there to show you how to. That was really stood out to me, and I watched it. I was basically attended the workshop, but I was more like trying to get content. Sir Campolot, Sikwa, and Jin had separate workshops. Jin did like a cooking workshop using their micro cast iron. So that's also cool too, is they incorporate Snow Peak gear and show you how to like do recipes. So Jin did like these beautiful, delicious mashed potatoes. Sir Campolot, I forget what he did.
I've
But
listened to that
yeah.
episode too, by
Yeah,
the way.
he's done. They're also Snow Peak ambassadors. But that's cool that they give us ambassadors a chance to also go out and showcase part of what we love with the community. Through Snow Peak. Veronica, obviously, Bardo Tea is great. Also at Snow Peak down here and in Portland, they always try to partner with local brands. So Bardo Tea is a local tea house in Portland. When I was there, they had Dead Stock. Out there was a local coffee shop. They did like a local brewery collab for a beer.
Dope.
So they really try to incorporate the community in which they're doing events in, which I really appreciate. So.
And also, there was an unofficial Snow Peak Way in this very area that we're recording that was
Yeah.
hosted by Gearmate. Real
Yeah.
quickly, what was that about? Or how was that energy and atmosphere being that it was a unofficial one?
Yeah, it was great. So it was also sponsored and endorsed by Snow Peak.
Okay.
But it was definitely a lot more intimate, a lot smaller. I would say at Snow Peak Way in Big Sur, man, I would ballpark maybe. I feel like there's definitely over 100 people, where it was definitely half that at least for Gearmate here. And Gearmate's just like an outdoor enthusiast brand that happens to really love Snow Peak and Japanese style camping.
Is Gearmate like a community of like Snow Peak enthusiasts? Is that what it is?
Yeah, Gearmate's a community of Snow Peak enthusiasts, but they also just kind of like Japanese style camping in general. It just so happens that Snow Peak is probably the biggest well-known brand in the States, but there are other brands. But yeah, they have they have Snow Peak gear that you can't get in the United States. Like they have their pipelines to get stuff here that's only in Korea or exclusive to Japan. So it's really cool to hang out with, shout out Tony and Allison, the organizers for that, to see them putting the Snow Peak community together. would have never known that existed in SoCal specifically too. Yeah, so it's great community, really good food, really good soju, just I had a great time.
A brand's really connected with their community when they have unofficial ones being organized by
for
local, just local communities in whatever city or scene people may have it in.
Oh yeah. Like I said, it's definitely
Cult following.
openly like a little bit cult following. So come join, as Jin says, at the end of her podcast.
It's funny that you say that because when I was talking to my friend who worked in fashion, when I brought up the Supreme reference, the Supreme has a cult
Oh
following.
no, yeah, it's very much so, yeah.
So I'm not surprised.
It's crazy how many people I met at Snow Peak, like I said, that were also sneakerheads in the past. It's that novelty, high quality, almost like hype.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's they have that intersection.
Exactly.
Right, where
Yeah.
they also have the streetwear aficionados who are
Mhm.
really into the premium craftsmanship.
Oh yeah, yeah, most definitely.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about your show, the Campthropology podcast. And I just got to say, man, it's really dope to finally meet you and meet another fellow outdoor podcaster. You know, I feel like there's not too many of us out there,
Yeah.
let alone BIPOC ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially that I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Most definitely.
That was definitely like one inspiration of like stepping into like the outdoor podcasting scene. I felt like the shows were great that I was listening to. They just felt a bit vanilla.
I can see
And I
that.
thought,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you know, we, with our different backgrounds, can bring a
Definitely.
different flavor
Literally,
to the
and
scene.
yeah,
Literally.
figuratively, yeah, for sure.
And I've listened to a handful of episodes already. You know, I've heard the one with Sir Camp a lot. More recently, the one with Camp Smart with
Oh yeah,
the hot dog,
with Molly.
Molly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Such a great
Definitely.
episode, especially if you want to learn about camping hacks and tips and tricks. Just for the listeners, like, what can people expect to hear on your show? And any particular specific episodes any first-time listeners should tune into?
Man, just like my content, my podcast is kind of everywhere. But I think what you should expect to see is, I would say, how the outdoors can mean different things to different people. And if some of the episodes are more information oriented, one of the episodes I had, you know, some of the homies, shout out Tavo, Gio, and Jonathan, they're, you know, Mexicans that hunt, and that's like, so it's like you would never think that they don't look like all the hunters out there, but they're doing the damn thing. They've been hunting, you know, 15 plus years. To see their perspective on how they hunt and how they're stewards of the land and their perspective. I think it's episode 10. It's called Belly Crew. Super wild episode.
Belly Crew.
Belly Crew, yeah. Super wild episode. Super entertaining. If you're into like spooky weird shit, they've also seen some crazy stuff in that's Sequoia National Forest. But I feel like a good one to start is just episode 1. I just kind of go over what weirdly what I wanted the podcast to be and like what it ended up kind of being. You know, it's just a real. I try to make it a real connected point of people experiencing the outdoors. I just want to have the homies on, you know. I want to see, so that you start to see reoccurring guests of us. I never wanted to be the podcast that's like, oh, we have all the biggest people in the, you know, outdoor scene. It's just like, no,
Yeah.
these are the homies. This is what we do. We drink beer. We share funny stories. We share tips and tricks. Specifically, Molly is a wealth of knowledge. The episode with Whitney too is a wealth of knowledge. They've both extensively traveled the United States, sleeping in their vehicles in tents. Between the two of them, they've probably been to every single contiguous national park and state and camped in all of them.
Whoa.
Yeah, so stuff like that, you know, like kind of like we're just like your average people gallivanting outside, you know.
I think that's what really drew me about your content specifically. Some of the episodes I would watch was like 3 or 4 of you around a campfire or just in
Yeah.
a circle, just shooting the shit.
Yeah, that's basically
Just kind of
what we do.
freestyling it, just
Yeah.
shooting from the hip, and I was really enjoying that because it's so relatable. It's just like you imagine yourself just chatting with your
At
outdoor
the fire
homies.
too. Yeah, it's the kind of vibe we wanted. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you could bring up a good point. It's also a reminder for me as well. Like, it's not always about having the biggest guest. It's about having guests that you feel like you can connect with, you can have a great conversation with, and also just the everyday people.
Yeah,
Because I
most
feel like,
definitely.
especially in today's content, you know, like so much overly produced content. Everything looks too perfect. The most beautiful people, this and that. People don't really relate to that.
Yeah, I think definitely it has a place.
It does.
I think a lot of times it's like it tracks us there, and then it's almost like kind of like when I was watching Overland content. I was like, ooh, that's really cool. And then when I got out there, I'm like, I have a Subaru. I don't have like a lifted $1 billion rig. I was like, it got me there, but I was like, I don't know if I fit here.
It's like the bling blow.
Exactly.
You know? You're like,
yeah.
I can't afford that yet.
Exactly. I don't have to wait. So we're gonna just work with what I have, you know, like, so I definitely, that's what we want to just be a low key vibe. And more than anything, you know, it is really just a digital ethnography for me. Just a collection of information for information's sake, you know? So one day when I'm old, I can look back at all these podcasts, you know, and just really just like, you know, great, we're so blessed to be able to do stuff like this, you know, like I want to capture that and I want to share it and we want to get more people out camping and spread that vibe for sure.
And just to close the loop on talking about the Campthropology podcast, I just think it's so important to archive and document these conversations.
Totally.
Because I'm sure that you've come to realize or see, when you release an episode, it's not about when you release it. It's like people get affected and tune into these conversations maybe several weeks out,
Oh, yeah,
several months
yeah,
out, or
yeah.
even like years.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you might get a random DM. It's like, hey, that conversation either helped me a lot in this situation or it inspired me in such a way I was going through a rough time in life. Like, I think it's really important to just record these conversations and document them and put them out into
Oh,
the
yeah,
the
definitely.
Trek universe. you know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, get. It's all about information, Like I said, a lot of people. The one thing that I say, that I heard from Jamaica Dawes, who is out. Oh, they were in Stevensville, Texas. But if you look up Slim Pickin' Outfitters, it's the first outdoor outfitter shop that's black owned in the United States. And
Slim Pickens.
yeah,
Okay.
Jamaica and Heather Dawes are the owners. And on one podcast, he basically explained. He's like, most people that go that camp, hike outdoors had somebody show them, take them their first time. It takes a lot of courage and confidence and wisdom and grit to go out and do this stuff by yourself for the first time. So the majority of people had someone show them or share an experience with them for the first time. And that's how you learn that information. So our kind of goal as Camp Homies with Campthropology too is to kind of be that digital community for you, so that you can, if you decide to go out by yourself, like we got you, like we got you with information, whatever you need, like eventually we want to do group trips. We're like, no, come with us, and that's how a lot of the homies we met too throughout the few years we've been doing this is through that, so providing people a space for community. If you have a community that if your friends don't camp, like I love my friends, I say like my pre-social media friends. They camp. Some of them camp now, but like sometimes they don't camp and they don't want to go out every weekend. So like that's totally fine. Like I need to find and build and be part of another community. So we're trying to be that for people.
Yeah.
That because I don't know. I would see like especially like in San Diego and LA, there's a lot of people like camping, sleeping on the ground. Hell no, So if you're interested, who are you supposed to go to? Like if you don't have that community, it's hard to get out here. So we want to provide that for people.
It's interesting, right? It's like you have to make a whole new set of friends when you get into the outdoors.
For sure.
You have to build that community around you through these different platforms. And clearly, you've been doing that through your content, now soon with Camp Homies and your podcast. So it's a beautiful thing you've been nurturing.
Yeah, I
and building.
appreciate you, man. It's super fun. You as well, man. Your community is really strong, really healthy, it looks like. And I know that's a lot of hard work. That's a lot of dedication. And a lot of long nights. It's blood, sweat, and tears. So definitely the respect is there on both sides, man. I really appreciate you.
Vice versa. As you know, like people don't see behind the gram.
Well,
or they won't understand, and we can't expect them to
Exactly.
oftentimes.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, super excited to ask you this next question, as you just have been on so many countless adventures. If there was one outdoor experience you could relive all over again, what would that be?
Ooh.
Just one.
Dang, that's gonna take a second.
Yeah. Process that one as the night sets upon us, and we'll be wrapping up soon because I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna get down. I would say because it was super special and it was a solo trip. One time I went to my little favorite campground in San Diego that's called Sibbets Flat. It's first come, first serve, and it was snowing. It's like almost unheard of it
In
to
San
snow
Diego?
there. Yeah, the elevation of that campground is I think like 3,300 feet, and usually snow is like 5 and above. So it was just like, it was a few years ago, one of those storms that came through SoCal.
Wow.
And I went out there and everything was covered in snow and it was actively like California snowing. Like I'm not blizzarding out there. But I remember I left because I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. There's no service there, so I went back to the road, called my wife, and I was like, I think I'm gonna do it. She's like, go for it, do it. I was like, okay. I drove back to the campground and set up camp, and it was snowing, and I'm literally just sitting there with like my little propane fire.
Wow.
No one was, campground completely empty, just like, and then experiencing, and it's probably just a little taste of it, but I didn't realize when it's snowing how quiet it gets. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it now. It's the first time I've been to the snow before, like in Julian, or like, as a kid, my parents used to like take me up there, but you're out there and like, you're playing and like there's people, but just like sitting, it's like hearing the crack of a Modelo and then just like deafening silence as you're watching snow just like slowly fall down was magical. It was completely magical. And I wasn't in the, like, I feel like a lot of people too, like they see my content like, oh, you've probably been to every single national park. I'm like, I actually haven't. Like I've been to like Death Valley, Yosemite, and don't get me wrong, I love national parks and think everybody should go experience that. But I'm a really big advocate for find those same moments of awe in your local areas because it's out there too, you know.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I just want to emphasize
Yeah,
that.
no,
I highly resonate that sometimes some of the most special, treasured moments are in your own backyard.
Totally, totally. You know, and knowing them in an intimate, like, so at that campground, I know there's like, you know, a seasonal family of ducks that come by. There's the homie that's a skunk that I see on every trip, and I tell people, all it's like, hey, dude, Pepe's gonna come tonight, and they're like, no way. I'm like, yep, like clockwork, he comes by, you know. So yeah, learn those intimate areas. That sounds weird. learn
No,
those
it doesn't.
learn
Keep-
those
keep it
outdoor,
going.
learn those outdoor spaces intimately that are like that are in your backyard, you know.
That was great.
The magic is out there, you know. You just gotta find it and, you know, be okay with seeing it because it's everywhere. You know, it's not just at the beautiful Instagram worthy spots. You know, even here, like you can get into birding, which is like, you know, a gateway too, like experiencing how cool it is to see like natural birds or trees or like the oak or like, you know, old growth oak or like the pines. It's like once you start to see that, I feel like that is like I said, don't get me wrong. Experiences like Yosemite are brilliant. I think everybody should at least go there at least once. But we can recreate. I feel like a better feeling of that in your local spots for sure.
Okay, naturalist Rolland dropping all the dropping all the plant and tree identification. I see you. I see you.
I'm gonna check out that program that Grant did for his certified naturalist.
Yeah, I think it was called Trans Habitat.
Yeah, I just followed him on Instagram.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's awesome.
How special that a snow experience in a local park, which is so rare in Southern California. You said it stood at around 3,300 feet elevation. Like, it's just so rare.
Yeah.
So when that happens, you got to make it out there and just soak it in and just be present and be like.
Yeah, people don't believe me. Like, it didn't snow there. I'm like, I have videos of it did.
I think you're talking about 2022, 2023, because we had very similar low elevation hills and mountains in LA where we're like, are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
Is this happening right
Yeah,
now? This happens in the East Coast or the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was super magical.
Oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, guess what?
What's that?
It's time for the rapid fire question section
Okay,
in the dark edition.
In the dark
So
edition.
you probably can't see this unless I brighten it up somehow.
You want me? I can get some lights.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
I got the perfect
All right,
lights for
all
this,
right. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
It's time for the rapid fire question section.
Rapid fire. Okay, let's do it.
Check it out, y'all. We got
All right.
lights now
Wow.
provided by Rolland. So
Boom.
if you're watching this on YouTube, you
Link
will
in bio.
actually be able to see us.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I have a handful of episodes where we record around sunset hour, then you can't see us anymore.
So do I, dude. It's the same.
Too funny.
It's because we have such a good time. We just go into the dark. Dude.
Yeah, go into
it's
the dark.
It's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, this shows you we're really out here.
Yeah.
All right. So the way it works is 2 rounds. Round 1 is outdoor focus, and then round 2 is personal.
Cool.
So just answer with one-word answers or short and concise answers.
Okay.
All right, so round 1. You ready?
Let's do it.
You ready, rock steady?
I'm ready to rock steady.
Oh, he said it!
It's official.
He said ready, rock steady.
Let's do
I
it.
love it when the guest says rock steady because that's how I know we're really ready to go with
Yeah,
it.
we rocking steady.
We rocking.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Favorite trail snack?
Ooh, just granola bar, chocolate chip specifically. Yeah.
Granola bar chocolate chip for the record.
Yeah.
Trail runners or hiking boots?
Trail runners.
Desert or deserted island?
Ooh, desert.
Waterfalls or lakes?
Lakes.
Dawn or dusk?
I would love to be an early bird, but I'm not, so I'm gonna have to say dusk.
Understandable. Mountain lions or grizzly bears?
Like I have to fight one, or just like seeing one.
Seeing one.
Oh, that's a hard one. I think mountain lions, but I'd also be scared too. But because they're so elusive, I'd have to say this. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to say I would want to see one, but I'd also be hella scared. I like to see one from like inside my car driving.
Mountain lion.
Yeah, the mountain lion.
Mountain lion for the record.
Mountain
Yeah,
lion,
they're
yeah.
so elusive.
Yeah.
They always see us.
You don't
we never
want to
see
see
them.
one, basically. Yeah.
Because they've been stalking you.
That's what I'm saying. If you're seeing it, it's too late. Yeah. So.
Taco Tuesday or Waterfall Wednesday?
Ooh, Taco Tuesday, for sure.
Signature camping meal.
Ooh, I gotta hold it down for the hot dog homies. Straight hot dog, but we do a lot of different ones. Like Molly one time did like a Seattle dog. You know, we do chili dogs sometimes. But like
Seattle dog,
yeah,
okay.
a good dog, just different condiments. You know, switch it up.
Yeah, Seattle dog because it has cream cheese,
Cream
right?
cheese, yeah.
I lived
yeah.
in Seattle for like almost 2 years.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Dude, Seattle dog was fire. Yeah.
You eat that after a late night out, and then you wake up not taking a majestic poo.
yeah, it's not so pretty. Yeah.
Tent or hammock.
Tent. Yeah.
Sunrise coffee or tea, or sunset cerveza.
Dude, that's a.
You know I had to hit you with that
Oh
one.
man, I don't even know if I can.
Sunrise coffee / tea
Oh.
or sunset cerveza.
Have you ever had someone not answer? That one's hard.
This is the first time I ever asked someone this
Dang.
question or tailored it for someone, so it feels special.
Oh my god, dude, that's a hard one.
I know, that's why I asked it.
Oh shoot.
Take a second. What comes off the top of your mind?
Dude, both equally. Dang, that's so hard.
Okay, what are you leaning a little bit over to if you had to
I think
answer?
If I had to answer,
If you had
it'd
to
be
answer.
Sunset cerveza.
Of course.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Hard. It's a hard one though. That's a super hard one.
I
Yeah,
feel you.
yeah,
I feel
cheers.
you. I feel like you're like 52-48 on that one. National park you want to visit the most that you have not already?
Ooh, man. Let's see. That's also a good one. I want to go to Pinnacles National Park. Yeah. I
Still
feel
haven't
like-
been there myself.
Yeah.
Pinnacles for the record.
Yeah.
Music artists you want to camp with?
Ooh, also a good one, but I definitely know it. I really like Rex Life Raj. He's out of Bay Area,
Okay.
and one of his songs is called Handheld GPS, and he shot it outside, and it's about like disconnecting in nature. And so I always tag him on. Also, shout out Camp Yoshi up in Portland as well. They do like hikes, so I'm trying to get Rex and Yoshi to get together and then invite me to a collab, a camp out. Yeah,
That sounds so familiar to me, Camp Yoshi.
yeah.
Greatest fear on the trail,
Hiking wise,
hiking wise.
okay. Man, that's tough. Oh yeah, like rolling my ankle or something.
The simple injury, right?
Yeah,
that can
a
turn
simple injury
worse.
that you think that can turn really bad real quick. Yeah.
One piece of gear you'll never camp without.
Ooh, probably literally one of these lights we're using. They're tried and true workhorses for all kinds of scenarios.
These lights are saving the day and saving this late night recording. Well, actually, it's just sunset is so early now. It's
Yeah,
like
it
6
looks
p.m.
like a little nice light.
And one word, how does camping make you feel?
Ooh, wow. I think just connected.
Love that. What's your ideal outside temperature?
Ooh, I like a little crispy. I would say. Dang, that's a good one too.
Little crispy, little light jacket weather.
Yeah, because I like a good jacket. I'd say like 55.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Coming from a SoCal San Diego kid.
Yeah, I like.
Very
I like,
interesting.
I like to wear my. I spend so much money on a stupid down jacket. I want to wear it. Like.
This is so true.
Yeah.
We have down jackets, fleece.
Oh yeah.
We got the windbreakers. We got to put it to use.
Merino wool. I gotta use it.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, that concludes round one. We take a quick 15 to 20 second break.
Okay.
This is normally where I say I'll drink my water, but in this case, a late night cerveza.
Nice cerveza.
What is this, IPA?
Yeah, it's a Troublemaker IPA from Black Plague. Shout out, Molly picked that for us.
Okay.
Black Plague went out of business. A brewery in Oceanside Vista area that was owned by like a bunch of like surfers and skaters.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
hometown beer.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. All right, round two. You ready?
Let's do it.
You ready, rock steady?
Ready, rock steady.
Favorite comfort food?
Ooh, damn. Probably my mom's potato tacos. Yeah.
I had potato tacos recently, and I was like very skeptical about it. Dude, that hit.
Right?
It was weirdly really
miss the
bomb.
meat. Yeah. If they're like good and seasoned, the potatoes are good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really shocked. My friend was at this bar in Highland Park, like this hipster area, kind of like northeast of downtown LA.
Okay.
They recommended the potato tacos, and
Right.
I was like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
I tried it, and I was like, "Bro, that
Hey, you
was
don't really
amazing."
miss the meat at all. Yeah.
Favorite cartoon show growing up?
dude, also good. But I think for sure Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh my God,
Dude,
yes.
Yes.
Such a ridiculous show.
Oh yeah, it was wild.
Favorite emoji?
I like the one with the melting face.
That's a great one.
The face is melting.
Very, I feel like that's a newer one that's been getting a lot of love.
Yeah, yeah.
Favorite poet
Ooh,
at this moment?
At this moment, it has been for a long time. It's one of the homies, actually. His name's Alfredo Aguilar. No social media. It's like basically barely has a cell phone. But if you just Google or YouTube him, beautiful writing. He writes a lot about Mexican-American poet as well, in his process and his family's journey to the States. He writes beautiful stuff about the Sonoran Desert and being out there, for sure, hands down.
How sick is that you can say your homie?
Oh, I'm constantly inspired by the homies, man, like all the time. Yeah, you
That's
as well.
what's up.
Now, most recently.
And we homies now,
Yeah.
for sure. App you are currently using the most besides Instagram and TikTok?
Ooh, and TikTok, yeah. I use the Reminders app a lot.
That's a first on this podcast.
I'm always trying to like
Utility.
Yeah, utility. I'm trying to like not forget stuff for gear, for camping stuff, for food menu. Like also, there's probably a better app, but I just like the Reminders.
No,
app.
that's a great suggestion, or that's a great app to be using for all of you out there too.
Yeah.
So you don't forget anything on
Yeah.
your trips. Favorite superhero?
Dang. Ooh. Wow. Because I wasn't a big superhero kid. Like, but if I were to pick,
We can
one,
X that question out. Then
I always liked the Riddler. He's a bad one.
Ooh,
But
that's a great answer.
From Batman. Yeah, I like the Riddler.
I like that. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
Oh man. Shout out to Molly for a glimpse of modern sloths. So Molly told us that Joshua trees and avocado trees, Molly,
Yeah, avocados and saguaros.
and saguaros would not be here if it wasn't for the giant sloths that used to roam these areas.
Really?
Because they had a big enough butthole to pass the seeds.
Oh my God. that's it, huh?
Okay, yeah.
Seeing the sloths go across the road is just like doesn't look real.
And I think there were giant sloths too from back in the day. I'd want to be one of those. That'd be cool.
Sorry, gotta ask you this, man.
Yeah.
Filipino food or Mexican food?
Oh, dude, again, dude, you're coming in hot. Oh, shoot.
If you had to choose at this
I
moment,
I had to get rid of one. Which one would I keep?
what are you leaning towards the most right now? If you had to choose one over the other. This might be the hardest question ever.
Yeah. Oh man.
You won't alienate your
I know.
either
I'm
side.
gonna lose half of my followers. Dude. I would have to say, just because I feel like I can cook a lot more of it than I can Filipino food, I'd have to say Mexican food.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I freaking love Mexican food. It's like
Yeah.
my top 3. So.
Yeah.
Mexican food for the record. If you could travel back in time, what period would you go to? It could also be a period of time that you did not live in.
This is a fun one. So I always have an answer to this. That's a question. A little controversial. Can I go back and be a white man?
Okay. we go there.
That changes it completely.
Wow. That's too deep for the rapid fire question section, Rolland. White man.
All right,
for the
well,
record.
let's just say when that question comes again, everybody asks that because it will change your experience completely.
Everyone let that sink in.
Yeah. But through the lens of what I would say, which usually I would say yes, I'd want to go to like, I don't know, for some reason I really like the 60s or the 70s, like, I don't know, I'd probably be one of those hippies out in Golden Gate Park just like doing a bunch of mushrooms.
I'm probably right there with you.
Yeah, like the biggest form of resistance is like self-love. Isn't that crazy? You know? So I'd probably do that.
Right on, right on.
Yeah.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Oh man. Weird for sure. I would say I'm pretty consistent in general, just like things, and man, I don't know. Confused a lot of the time. Life's confusing.
Weird, confused, consistent.
I'm consistently weird and confused.
3 very
Put it that way.
unique
Yeah.
words put together.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, here's the final question of the rapid fire question section.
Okay.
Favorite sound?
Ooh. Dang. So I'll have to preface this by saying I really liked ASMR before, like 15 years ago, before it got super big. And weirdly, one of the ones that I really liked is listening to, it's part of me being weird, like a washer and dryer just like do its, or a dryer just do its thing. Listen, I don't know, it's probably something when I was a kid, but just like listening to a dryer like tumble and like, you know, it's warm in there. Like, I don't know.
You about to feel fresh with the new clothes?
Yeah. There's a lot of things tied to
exactly.
reinforcing what happens when you're a kid and, you know, the dryer opens and you get your pajamas put on or something. I don't know why, but I've always really enjoyed the sound of just like a dryer.
Most unique answer to that question, and I'm all here for it. All right, that concludes the rapid fire question section. You survived.
Thank you. Yes.
And now we're at the end of the episode, but before we conclude it, I always turn the spotlight back to the guests. Roland, do you have any final words you want to share to the homies, to the friends and family, to the outdoor community? The floor is yours.
Man, I definitely want to turn it back for you, and I really appreciate you having me on. And like I said, I really respect what you're doing and look up to what you're doing. So, because we're camping, I'll pick your brain. Basically, the podcast behind the scenes will continue tonight. Because I really respect and love what you're doing with your communities and the multiple communities that you're working with. That's a sign that a community is like really thriving, is when you're also partnering with other communities, for sure. And I think that's really important. And I think that in that vein, if anybody's listening to this that is looking for communities, check out for sure yourself, and also reach out to people, reach out to communities and people that you admire online. We're always, at least I would speak for the people that I surround myself with, we're always more than willing to help. And be confident in moving out there, and through specifically for the outdoors. But one of the, there's a lot of lessons that being outdoors has taught me, and a lot of it too is like when you're solo camping and you're a little apprehensive or scared, it's kind of like giving yourself the space to like feel that, but also be confident out there. And that's what's transferred into like non-camping life with me, is believe in yourself, I would say, for sure. And that you're capable of doing stuff that you may not think you are. And even if you're not yet, there's a community somewhere out there that will help you get there.
Love that, Roland.
Yeah.
Thank you for your powerful and final thought.
Yeah.
That concludes another episode, y'all, of the Just Right Podcast. Rolland Tizuela,
Heck yeah.
Campthropology, Camp Homies, Just Right Podcast, Elevation is our recreation.
Boom.
And we are out, y'all.
See ya.
Peace.
Later. Until the next one.